Well, Broad Ripple's Old Pros Table should be celebrating its 30th anniversary, but instead the COVID-19 pandemic has forced its owners to close the bar that has really been a Broad Ripple staple for decades. Nicole Harlan-Oprisu and her husband Tim operated OPTs and several other high-profile restaurants on the north side of Indianapolis, including Northside Social and Delicia, a family of restaurants. Pleased to welcome Nicole to the show this week to talk about the impact of the pandemic and also going forward challenges for restaurants. And Nicole, again, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
First of all, Nicole, Old Pros Table, as I said, a staple in Broad Ripple for many, many years. Had to be a really tough decision to decide to close.
It was definitely a tough decision. It had a couple different factors to it. Our lease for that building was up at the end of March. So we had to really factor in the loss of this year. We lost St. Patrick's Day, all of NCAA, all of basketball playoffs. And, those revenues really ride not just Old Pros Table, but sports bars in general, through the leaner summer months. And, we had to weigh the cost of that loss with the possibility that there may not be professional sports or college sports this year, to decide whether or not it was worth trying to claw it out through March. So for us, at the end of the day, it just wasn't worth it, given this uncertainty going back into it.
Yeah.
So we made a tough call.
Yeah, Nicole, going forward, restaurants, bars, and others begin to slowly reopen, but the challenges remain with social distancing, the restrictions in bar areas and those types of things. Talk about the challenges that you and other operators all over the state of Indiana are facing.
I think that there are so many challenges that, I think people just don't really take a look at when talking about opening. You really cannot just, flip a switch and say, okay, now we're going to open. Some of the concepts don't have outside dining. Some people are trying to figure out how to make that work. When this whole thing started, we had to basically switch to entirely different restaurant models. We changed our menus, our hours. We had to lay off a large quantity of our staff. We're trying to figure out how to do a totally different thing than what we had been doing for, in some locations, 10 years or more. So for us, the challenges were, change the menu, change the website, change the social media and hours and service and, who can we buy and, how can we get the food? Because distributors are having the same kinds of problems that we are.
Yeah.
So, those were the challenges from the early onset, ongoing, all sort of the same thing in reverse. We're going to be operating a full service restaurant at some point and also a carryout restaurant at some point. And those two things for most people did not exist simultaneously.
Yep. So,
you're looking at, at Delicia, we're going to be adding outside dining out in our back patio, which we've never had, plus indoor dining when it's allowed, plus also operating a carryout business with limited staff, limited resources, food shortages.
Yeah.
Having, pay people to sanitize restrooms and surfaces and doors. And, there's a lot of added expenses to that as well.
And very quickly, we're about almost out of time, but I know you've got employees, many others do, concerned about working in this environment. Liability, very quickly, liability is an issue too for restaurant owners.
Definitely. Employees are certainly, frightened about the return. There's a risk versus reward, scenario for them as well. There's a possibility that they are not going to be able to return to anywhere close to the income they were making previously, right. And they're putting them at risk to do so.
Nicole, we're out of time right now, but Nicole Harlan-Oprisu, thanks for joining us. You've got great properties on the north side. Look forward to having them open back up, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.